On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at the age of 50. Days later, on July 1st, his last will was opened in a Los Angeles probate court. Everyone expected to hear a familiar name. He had 8 brothers and sisters. He had a mother and a father. He had an estate worth more than $500 million and a huge family that lived off his fame. But when it came to the most important question of all, who would raise his 3 children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, Michael skipped every single one of them. He chose a woman who wasn't even family, Diana Ross. And here's the strange part. By the time he died, the 2 of them weren't even close anymore. Reports say Diana Ross was shocked to find her own name in his will. She never asked for it. So why did he do it? The real reason is stranger than you think, and it goes back almost 40 years. Before we get into it, do me one quick favor and hit that subscribe button, because this channel digs up the stories hidden behind the headlines. Now let's get into it. The real reason Michael Jackson put Diana Ross in his will had nothing to do with blood. It had everything to do with trust. Michael did not trust his family to raise his kids. Outside of his mother, he didn't believe anyone in the Jackson family would protect them the way he wanted. His relationship with parts of his family was tangled up in money, fame, and old wounds. He had spent his whole life trying to keep his children away from the exact pressures that had broken him. Diana Ross was different. She was the one person from his past who made him feel safe instead of used. She had no need for his money. She was already rich and famous in her own right. She was a mother herself. And most importantly, she had cared for Michael when he was a small, frightened boy, long before he became a superstar. So when Michael pictured the worst, himself gone, and his mother unable to step in, he didn't picture a brother or a sister standing over his children. He pictured the woman who once stood over him. To understand why he trusted her that much, you have to go back almost 40 years. Michael Jackson never got to be a child. He was performing for money before most kids learned to read. By the age of 5, his father Joe had him rehearsing for hours every day. There were no playgrounds, no school friends, no normal afternoons. There was only the act, the road, and the pressure to be perfect. So when the Jackson 5 signed with Motown Records in 1969, Michael was not just a talented kid. He was a 10-year-old boy walking into the biggest, most powerful music label in America, and he had no idea how to handle any of it. That is the moment Diana Ross entered his life. By the late 1960s, Diana Ross was already a legend. As the lead singer of the Supremes, she was one of the most famous women in the country. She was glamorous, powerful, and untouchable. She was the face of Motown. When the Jackson 5 arrived, Ross was given a special role in young Michael's life. People close to the family say she effectively looked after him. She guided him. She watched over him. She helped a shy boy from Gary, Indiana, survive a world that was far too big for him. For Michael, she became something he had never really had. Not just a mentor, not just a star he wanted to copy. Something much closer to a parent. He once said that Diana Ross was like his mother, his sister, and his idol, all in one person. Those are not the words of a fan. Those are the words of a child who clung to the first adult who ever made him feel safe. The connection only grew stronger over the years. When Michael started his solo career as a young performer, he did it on one of Diana Ross's own television specials. Years later, the two appeared together again, laughing and teasing each other on screen with a warmth that you cannot fake. He admired her. He studied her. Some people who knew him even believed that parts of his changing appearance over the years were an attempt to look more like her. Whether that is true or not, one thing is clear. In Michael's mind, Diana Ross was not just a famous friend. She was built into the foundation of who he was. Now jump forward to July 7th, 2002. Michael sits down to sign his last will. By this point, he is a father. He has 3 young children, and he protects them fiercely. People who knew him say being a dad was the role he took more seriously than any song, tour, or award. In the will, he decides what happens to everything if he dies. His fortune, valued at more than $500 million, goes into a family trust. Then he answers the biggest question a parent can answer: who raises my children? His first choice is his mother, Catherine. She is the one person in his family he trusts completely. But a good will plans for the worst. What if Catherine, already an older woman, could not take the children, or was gone too? Michael needed a backup, a second name. He did not write down any of his 8 siblings. He wrote down Diana Ross. Here is what makes the story even stranger. By the time Michael died in 2009, he and Diana Ross had drifted apart. Years had passed. Their lives had moved in different directions. According to several reports, Ross was genuinely surprised to learn she was even in the will. She had no idea Michael had placed the future of his children in her hands. Then, real life put the plan to the test. In 2012, the Jackson family fell into a very public custody fight. For a short time, Katherine Jackson, who was by then in her 80s, was even removed from her guardianship duties during the chaos. That meant the backup plan Michael had written 10 years earlier was suddenly real. Diana Ross stepped forward. She did it quietly, with no drama. Reports say she reached out to the children to make sure they were okay. She met with Katherine, held her hand, and asked if the family was making things too hard for her. Katherine promised she could handle it. The two women hugged. Ross did not take the children. She did not want to pull them away from their home. But she made one thing very clear. If it ever fell apart again, she would step in. By some accounts, she gave Michael's daughter Paris her personal phone number and told her to use it, no matter what. Almost 40 years after a scared little boy walked into Motown, the woman who protected him was still protecting his children. So why was Diana Ross in Michael Jackson's will? Not because of fame, not because of a recent friendship, and not because she was family, because she wasn't. She was there because of a bond that started when Michael was 9 years old and had no childhood of his own. She was the person who made him feel safe in a world that only wanted to use him. When he had to choose who could be trusted with the thing he loved most, his children, he looked past his entire family and chose her. It may be the most honest decision Michael Jackson ever made, and most people never even knew he made it. It also leaves one hard question behind. A man with that much family, money, and fame trusted almost no one with his own kids. What does that tell you about the life he really lived? If this story changed how you see Michael Jackson, that's the point. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe right now because this channel digs up the stories hidden behind the headlines. And there's a lot more like this coming. And tell me in the comments, did you know Diana Ross was in his will? And do you think he made the right call?